More cam, please. Here's more cam. So we want to machine this component from a block using CAM. We want to do it with 2.5 and 3-axis modules, the free license that is included in your SolidWorks license. If you're interested in getting a license, you can also go to my website and see what options we have there. So we want to do this one very slow. We have 3 managers here. I have covered this: the feature tree, the operation tree, and the tool tree. These 3 belong to the SolidWorks CAM. If you don't have it here, just right click on any of the tabs that you have, go to tabs and make sure SolidWorks CAM is checked. Okay. One other thing you can check if you don't see it is to go to tools, go to add-ins, and see if you have already checked SolidWorks CAM. For me, it's checked. You can try to check it here. If you don't see it here, that might be a licensing thing or you don't have it. All right, assuming you're where I am, you have your component, just sit back and see the steps that I do. You can try to recreate that and follow the steps because SolidWorks CAM is deep. Over here from the feature tree, I want to define a strategy-wise how many setups I need to machine this using a 3-axis machine. So if I want to mark it up, I would say I would need one time machining from the top, to do milling, creating all these holes because these are open holes here. So that would be one time. And I have to go really fine on the surface here because it's a curved surface on these surfaces, and removing this. And one time I would say I would flip it and I would machine it on the back. Okay, machining this surface very fine. The holes are see-through already. Do I have anything special here? Yeah, we have some you see the fillet around here. So I would need 2 setups in my opinion. Let's begin from the front, assuming we want to start from this set. First thing I want to do in the feature tree is to go to stock manager, right click here and edit this definition and see what I'm dealing with. From the looks of it, this is my actual component and it's actually sitting border to border with the stock. I want to make it a little bit bigger so I have some room to face it. And that would be changing that. I want to change the stock type to blind and give it some value. So this is the Z direction up and down. If I offset it 5, oh, I clicked OK, but let's just go back. So the component is inside that and it's 5 up, 5 down. From left and right, I can also add 5 from each side. So my stock is a lot bigger now. As you can see, I have some offset from the top and the bottom, right? Okay, so we can go to the SolidWorks CAM tab, click on Setup, click on Mill Setup again. Or I could just right click on the Stock Manager here and click on Mill Part Setup. It's the same thing. Now, it has selected the front plane, which is a plane that is normal to the first setup, which is from the top to bottom that I want to do, and it's fine. But if I pay a closer attention to this arrow down here, it's bottom up. So I want it to be backwards. So I'm going to flip the direction and I can even select the surface. Again, flip the direction. So the arrow is pointing downwards. And that's all I need. Click OK. And I have created the first mill part setup. Now everything I do operation-wise will take place inside the first setup. And I would need to create a second setup later after I'm done operating on the first setup. All right. Before I go to the operation tree, there are 2 more steps that I would need to take. One, right click here. For facing it, go to 2.5 axis feature. Make sure it's on face feature if it's not on pocket or anything. And I want to face my stock, which is this block of metal that I'm going to machine this component out of, all the way till I reach this surface, which is, I think, the highest surface we have here, if these things are not higher. And I can click on end condition. According to my selection, the green volume would be faced, which is about 5, which was the offset we gave the stock, and it looks right. So click OK. On mill part setup, I successfully have created a face feature to be used for facing, but it's not used because it's in blue. Just like a sketch, which is underdefined, a blue state means it's not used in the CAM module. One more step I need to take on part setup 1 is to right click on it again, click on multi-surface feature. This time I'm changing the face or surfaces. Instead of selecting everything by hand, I select all displayed. That's the smartest and fastest way to go about this. And now I have 2 unused face feature and surface feature that I haven't used under mill part setup 1. Now I'm going to assign some operations to these 2. In fact, if I'm going to tell you that in advance, I'm going to assign the face feature to the first one and 2 features to the second one. The 2 features that I'm going to assign later are rough cutting in the beginning, really fast, and then fine cutting with a ball nose tool to do all these smooth surfaces. All right, so let's go to the operation tree, which is the next one, and find mill part setup 1. Right click here. Let's start with 2.5 axis mill operations and find face mill. Once I do that, I need to go down here and find face mill on T15. You could always customize these tools, add your own, and so on and so forth. We are not going to those details just yet, not in this video. So I'm going to click OK. It takes me to the next step where I check face feature, which I created. If I hadn't done that, I would face a problem here, right? And I click OK. After a few seconds, the pop-up appears, operation parameters for facing. This is the tool. You see the preview here when I move my mouse. It's just for the preview, and I can customize all its dimensions. You can see that. I can change the tab for different things. Right now I'm on the tool tab. I can change the face mill, the mill holder, the tool crib, and the station, but I'm not gonna change anything here. I'm gonna move to the facing tab. Over here, I want to make sure the zigzag is checked because it would be faster instead of just doing a climb or conventional. If I check that for you, you see what's the difference between a climb, just removing from top to down clockwise, and conventional is counterclockwise, as you see. What I want to do is zigzag on a climb. And on this tab, I can also change the first cut amount and the max cut amount. So it's set on 1 and max cut amount is also on 1. And since we had 5 millimeters to face, it would require 5 layers of back and forth to reach that surface we selected, top here. If 5 times is too much and you want to do it faster, set the max cut to 2. So after removing the first layer with 1 millimeter of thickness, we have 4 millimeters to go, and we only go 2 more times on it, making a total of 3 back and forth layers to reach that surface. We could change other stuff here, but I don't want to do that. I want to click OK and click on generate toolpath. I could click on generate toolpath here to do a thorough general of everything that is here unused and used to re-render the whole process, or I could actually see the face mill that is unused here under the operation tree manager. Right click here and just click generate toolpath on that one. As I predicted correctly, we only have 3 layers. The first layer removes 1 millimeter, the last 2 remove 2 millimeters, making a total of 5 until we reach the top of our feature. So if we want to simulate that, we can just click on simulate toolpath and maybe reduce the speed a little bit. I'll go to the tool mode, not the boost mode, because on the boost mode I cannot reduce the speed. There are 2 modes. I don't want to talk about that right now. Let's just make sure we are on the tool mode, reduce the speed. So okay, this way, this is the first layer, 1 millimeter, and this is deeper. You see that? This is the second time we're going over the stock, and this is the third time, and at the end it should stop. Done. So this is the face feature, and we have reached the top of the feature, right? We want to continue from here. So I want to use a rather large tool to remove as much material as I can, roughly. And then after I've done that, I use a finer tool with a ball nose, and I do the fine tunings. So under the operation tree again, under mill part setup 1, right click, go to 3 axis mill operations and go to area clearance. So this would be the first tool, the flat end. I'm going to go with it. And for this one, we need to work with the multi-surface feature, which we already created. If we hadn't, there would have been an issue here. So click OK and wait a few seconds. We are starting on the pattern tab. Pattern type is set on pocket out. Let's just do it pocket in. I go to area clearance. The starting point is top of the stock, right? But in our previous step, facing, we have removed 5 millimeters from the stock. So if we start from top of the stock, this tool, this operation would start mid-air, just cutting air. So I want to change that to top of feature to start where the previous tool stopped. And I want to go to the bottom of the stock. We could consider some stuff. The smallest hole that we have here, I haven't measured that. Maybe I can. It's 13 millimeters in diameter. Now, if I go to my tool is 16. So it cannot cut through this. What I can do is to go and use a different tool, or I could just customize it here. Let's go with 10, right? Our tool is smaller now. Looks ridiculous. The shank is 16, so let's just make it 10 and assume that tool does exist in our toolbox. We want to go with that. I just clicked OK, right click on area clearance and generate a tool path for it. Right, it's messy because so many layers, I don't know, 10 layers probably, until it goes down. The color is shown here. If I wanted to change the simulation color, right click, it's shown in this color. I can just go maybe do orange, and this time it would look different like that. Let's simulate. Now simulation starts with facing, and I don't want it to just go all the way through. So I'm going to change the type to next tool. It means it would simulate until the end of facing, and it would stop, and it would wait for my manual command just like now until we start. So let's just reduce the speed and boom. So it's doing the first hole, and I can speed this up at this point. Oh, it's too fast. The reason it's too fast is that the display option was previously set to 1,250 moves at once, and that actually doesn't show well. So let's just do it at 50 and speed it up. By the way, the simulation color I chose, that's why it looks like copper. Okay, it's taking too long. The reason it's taking rather long is that I reduced the diameter of our tool from 16 to 10. That's almost cut in half, almost a little bit more, 40% reduction or so. And this increases the time because now we have a smaller tool to remove the materials with. But I had to do it to go inside the hole. So one way would be to start with a larger tool to remove the bigger areas as fast as possible. Then add another step with a smaller tool to take care of the holes. That would be probably the wiser move. And that's something you need some CNC knowledge about, and that has nothing to do with the settings in SolidWorks in this case. I'm just showing you the settings and how you can go about it, but actually the knowledge of CAM and producing components with CNC machines, it's a different word. I'm not claiming I know that. That's up to you. And this area where the material is not removed is probably because the stock was too small, and the geometry I have selected for the movement of the tool, it's set on center. So it's following the path to cut on the center of the tool. If I had changed that into something else like past, which I will show you in a second, I think we could remove these sharp edges that it has left. So let's take a look. It doesn't look bad at all. So it looks almost good. It's ready to do the fine tunings, but we want to do some customizations here. I'm going to right click on area clearance, edit its definition, and go to the geometry tab and change the tool condition from center to past and see if it actually does solve the problem. It's going to regenerate the toolpath because I have changed a fundamental setting. Now we want to see if we are looking at the right simulation or not. Now this time I want to do a boost mode, do it a lot faster. Just go to the end. Boom, boom. It's faster. Yes, see, there are no sharp edges because I allowed the tool to move further out than the boundaries of the stock and get rid of those sharp edges. Now that's okay. Now if you want to do it a little bit faster, I would probably change the tool, make it bigger, then add another one and make it smaller. So not remove this one. Let's add one more. Right click here, go to 3-axis, go to area clearance, pick the first tool again, which was 16, or actually go back and see if we can have a bigger one, 20. So let's get the 21, twice as large, and check the same multi-surface feature. And we still want it to be on past, on geometry, the area clearance tab, top of the feature for sure, bottom of the stock is good, and click OK. Before I generate the toolpath, I want to move this up the list. So we do the harsh removals with the larger tool to do the bigger areas faster, and go in again with a tool that is half the size of the first tool and do the finer areas. So we could do that, and at the end I will have to add another operation to get rid of all these sharp edges and create a smooth surface finish at the end. Now this is ready. Let's go to simulation, and I want to go back to the tool mode, reduce the speed. So this is the facing part. Maybe we could speed it up, and now we are working with a bigger tool. As you can see here, does it move faster? Or it has to because every movement removes twice as much. In fact, let me pause and change the condition to next tool because we want to see what happens once we are done with the larger tool. Where would it stop, and where does the smaller tool come in, and what kind of operations does that one take over? So this is the larger tool. I have found that if I let go of movement, it would be jumpy, the simulation. If I keep rotating my view, it would be a smooth simulation. No difference, only visuals. It would look nicer and you can see what's going on. I wish there was some shading available so I could see the edges, but I guess that would be too heavy on the CPU and the hardware to simulate that. That's why they did it like this. See, it's not touching these holes because these holes are 13 in diameter and this tool is 20, so you cannot even begin to cut them, unlike the previous tool, which was 10. Now that is removing faster. I can even maybe go with a larger tool probably. Maybe I could go up to 25 or 30 to reduce the machining time. All right, we are done with the larger tool. Now I want to move to the next tool, and hopefully the next tool takes care of these holes. So let's see. Yes, this is the first one. Sorry, this is the smaller one. Speed it up. It's a waste because it's cutting everything that already been cut. All right, now this is the final result. As you can see, the orange is where the smaller tool has touched. The holes are done with the smaller tool, and the green is where the bigger tool has touched. We have done that for faster removal in the first step. Now let's add the third level, which is different. We go to 3-axis and it's called Z level. It gives us a lot more control in the Z level. This is too fine. We don't want that. We might want to work with the, I guess, a ball nose on T12. Use the same multi-surface feature. Click OK. Now we want to change that to pass and go to the Z level. We want to use definitely zigzag and scalloping it with a much finer value. The minimum would be half that, so this amount. And we start from the top of the feature for sure, and we end to the bottom of the stock. Yes, let's click OK and generate the toolpath. See, I click on generate toolpath and it's just doing it for area clearance 1 and 2. Again, not needed. If I had clicked on the Z level, right click and generate the toolpath, it would have only done it for this one. Now the color for the Z level is probably something that we don't like, so I'm going to change that to gold. Is gold good? Let's change that to gold, so we know that's the last level of machining we want to do on this side of the part. Then we have to flip it and do another setup on the back. So right click, simulation color. Oh, it's already gold. Okay, so let's go in boost mode, but we want to stop at next tool and then have the facing done, have the first tool done. Oh, is it done? Not yet. So we go to the third tool. It's doing it. The holes done. Okay, now I have to stay on the boost mode at this point, but that was a bad move. So let's just start from, because you need to see the tool, what happens at each tool. This is still too slow, so I'm gonna go here, increase the speed of the tool mode by reducing the quality. I don't want to touch the turbo, and click OK. While this is simulating, I wanted to tell you that if you want to learn SolidWorks, I'm going to put you a link to my webinar, which is where you can start your journey and start learning SolidWorks with me. There are so many free giveaways and bonuses on that website that you can use. You can either click on the top right corner of your screen or the link in the description below. Now, if I'm being honest, this tool is totally wasted, 99%, because in order to do these 5 holes, it's just going over everything that has already been cut by the previous tool, and the setting is wrong. So I'm gonna have to go back and find a way to change the tool path for this one. I can definitely manually do that, but I don't want to do that. That's not the right way to do this. So after we go through the next tool and do the surface finish, we go back and try to edit this one, because this one is definitely being wasted and we don't want this. I mean, it would have been a lot faster if we just did the whole thing with this tool, basically, not the previous one with the diameter of 20. So we want to do that. The orange one is basically duplicated the green one, except it has 5 more holes. Anyways, let's just reduce the speed and go to the next tool, the ball nose. And this is the first time we are seeing this. So look at this. Look how smooth this is scalloping this whole thing. If I speed this up, that was the end of the simulation for the first half. It looks kind of nice. We can double check through color coding that the green is actually 0 millimeters away from the actual component. So we have some material to be removed over here. It's 4 millimeters above it, so that needs to be removed, but the rest is fine. And we can move to fixing the second tool, which was the rough cutting at the diameter of 10 millimeter, because it was basically going over everything the previous tool did. And we need to fix that. On top of that, we need to flip this over and machine it from the back side. So if you want to watch that, this is the end of this video because it's been more than 45 minutes. I will upload this in part 2 of this series. If you're enjoying this video, I would appreciate it if you leave a like and hit the subscribe button. That would help YouTube to promote this video to more people like yourself. I have created another CAM video. If you want to watch that, click on the video on the right. If you want to learn how to create boxing using sheet metal in SolidWorks, click on the video on the left.